Here we are, finally back with audio. So, how is it going, guys? This is Linux. It's a pleasure to be here again in another stream, this time for the last round of our ESA Rainbow Six European Cup, season number 9. And obviously, I'm here with Mighty. How's it going, man? What's up?
I am doing fantastic. And another thing that's going fantastic is the stage of ESA. As you just mentioned, we are locking in on the final moments here of phase 2 with the Swiss stage. As we already see up and mentioned, we only have 3 more matches to conclude. All of these will be handled this week on. We have first match of today, we have the match on tomorrow and one on Wednesday before we then can head into the final stage, into the finals. But before all of those, we have 6 more teams that want to compete and want to gain themselves their ticket for these finals. And we will say, let's concentrate on the match we have today, because today is an absolute banger. There are 2 well-known German teams. It is CrownZero against Entropy Gaming. These 2 teams are definitely names to know if you're coming from the German regions and you have played Siege in the last types of months. But let's talk a little bit about these 2 teams, shall we? As we have some stats about these. We had currently had a LAN in Dortmund recently, where I've picked out some few stats for these teams quietly after that LAN. In the hands of Entropy Gaming, they've had 4 games after the LAN, conceding with 2 wins and 2 losses. They're currently on a 2 series win streak. One against Panther, 7-3 on Cafe, and one a 2-1 series against E-Wave, 7-1 and 7-5 on Consulate and Clubhouse. Meanwhile, a little earlier, they lost 0-2 against Silent Family and a 1-2 against Asgard, concluding with a 7-3, 4-7 on Nighthaven and Clubhouse, and also losing 5-7 on Nighthaven, winning 7-5 on Bank to them beforehand, lose Cafe 1-7. So that's meaning these teams have had some ups and downs in the current matter of Entropy. If you meanwhile look into CrownZero, though, they have had 1 game since that. That was last week's game against PBX that I unfortunately lost with a 8-6 on Bank, 1-7-2 on Kev, but then lost again 7-2 on Skyscraper. But still, they're currently on a 2-game losing streak as they lost against Entropy as well on the land. That was a 7-5 on Chalet. Before all of that, they had 1 game that they won. That was on the 3rd of November on the LAN. That was against Banana 1986. That was a 7-4 on Bank. But that means they haven't won since the 3rd of November. That is currently a little bit over 2 weeks since. So they are definitely have done a lot of work to work their place back and also maybe gain some effects now to that gaining that final ticket. But there's still a strong opponent to be waiting for them, as we see on Entropy's hand, out of their sides. They're playing so good Siege. They've played a smacking amount of 1,658 rounds in attack, with winning a little bit less than 1,000 of those, winning 55.9% of their attacks. And also in the defense, they've won a little bit over 1,000 out of their nearly 2,000 attempts in defense, with a current meta percentage of 57% win rate in defense. That are numbers that are definitely intimidating in the hands of CrownZero, as we look into CrownZero only winning 48.2% of their attacks and winning 49 out of 9% in their defenses. So they're a little bit under there, so they have a huge opponent to look into and also face today, as also the maps are not speaking for them. Let's look a little bit onto the map bans, I would say.
Yeah, let's do it. Here we have, we are looking into a very interesting sequence with Clubhouse and Cafe Dostoyevsky. Interesting because mostly, in most cases, like we just saw in the previous image, Mighty, we're talking about a cafe very strong for Entropy, and Clubhouse could be also interesting for I would say Entropy, because CrownZero, they've lost Clubhouse recently also in this season here in ESA Cup. So it's a lot of interesting things to see on both spaces, as well as Lyre. Lyre is going to be the second map, so potentially Cafe Dostoevsky coming as a decider. But yes, let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes. And if we looked into these maps, we have Clubhouse in there, we have Valair in there, and we have Cafe. So we have one standard map and 2 big scale maps. And as well as there, we have some percentages that run into those. Entropy currently very huge on big scale maps, winning 70% of big scale maps that have been played against them, winning 70% on mid scale maps, so very even on those two, and only slacking off a little bit on standards, but still winning 63% of standard maps. That's meaning something. They're prepped for all these maps. Meanwhile, if we look a little bit into CrownZero, winning 55% of big scale, 50% of mid scale, and only 40% on standard. So, especially the map on Clubhouse will be a tiebreaker. If CrownZero doesn't find grounds on Clubhouse, this could be a short one. Especially as Clubhouse is one of the standard maps, it's definitely not going in their favor. Social votes is also looking 100% in the favor of Entropy. So I would say CrownZero is in a complete underdog scenario here. And let's face into these operator bans, as we shall see a Monty Ying coming in here by Entropy. Meanwhile, also a Brava is a main pick that could be running in from CrownZero. The Brava is not being concluded in as Maverick shows up. That was the potential fifth ban that I wrote up with an even scoreline of 15% ban rate from both of these teams. Meanwhile, Monty or Ying should now be lefted by Entropy as they're banning these operators with a 30% ban rate. As the Monty concludes in, Monty, absolute pure weapon on Clubhouse. Rafters is nearly impossible to defend as long as that Monty is alive. Maverick burning up holes, gaining a lot of open frequency. We also saw a huge plays on that double breach up into server CCTV area. Yes, they're at the major final, so definitely a crucial and very interesting pick to be banned out. Kai not falling in my predictions, as I would say that we will see a ban of Mira, Zolis, Azami. But Kai, definitely understandable. Makes it a little bit easier to open these walls. But for sure, we should see something more impeccable of. So, for example, Azami now. Even though Azami isn't coming in, but Mira is coming in. Mira 66% ban rate in the hands of CrownZero is definitely talking for itself. 66% ban rate is heavy.
Because on the side of Mira, indeed, like CrownZero likes to ban a lot Melusi, right? And on Entropy's side of things, they love to ban Monty, Brava, and Azami. So these are the operators that usually never come to play when it comes to CrownZero or Entropy, like we just seen. And obviously Maverick, interesting, a lot of respect on him. Obviously not a very hard to counter kind of operator. As we already hop into the first round, it's gonna be magisterial to see these teams playing against each other to lock up a spot for the playoffs. My friend Mighty Brewing, it's gonna be awesome. I'm hoping for 3 maps, right?
I'm also hoping for the full distance here. It is elimination matches. One team here is going into finals, one other is going home. So this is pretty much, as I posted on Twitter earlier, it's go big or go home time. And beginning on Clubhouse, standard map, the only standard map we still have off the map pool. As we have our dearest colleague, Diana, often calling, Clubhouse can go either way. Clubhouse is so even. Clubhouse is a map that we definitely force both teams to say, you should know this, you should know how to play it, and also how you win it. So this is the map where we always say we are aware of and await that we are seeing in over time. As we also look into the stats that we are having so far here at ESA on Clubhouse, we have a 50-50 split equal, but a little bit of an advantage with a few comma points in the matter for the attack. We have more attack round wins than defense round wins in Global so far, so maybe the attack is a little bit stronger, as we already see the tension and also the aggression is brought in here. We are pushing up that rafters alongside with Afla, with the Ash, pushing away these defenders as the defenders have their first line of defense drawn back all the way into cash.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see how that's going to play out, since we already see Entropy inside of the building. So they have reached into the compound, and Afla almost picking Nerdy. I could tell that Nikit is there, like his life not good, and we see a little bit of Nerdy again trying to rotate between the rooms to protect, obviously, from potential push by Entropy. So it's going to be a very, very good clubhouse to see. And this is just the beginning. We're just in the first seconds and minutes here. As we have already Afla trying to, of course, protect a little bit more of his back, but in the garage, and also thinking on how they can get closer to the bomb, right, Mike?
Attackers have located a bomb.
Definitely, we're like looking into perspectives and also opportunities to directly roam into. As we also previously have known that Entropy is a team that brings a lot of aggression, not afraid of drawing back from a fight. As we always say, UOT holding a passive angle, CrownZero being a little bit too greedy there, wanting to force that position out. And what happens? Of course, Entropy gains a huge advantage, gaining themselves a double opening frag there. It was completely unnecessary, but it happens. If you set a position, a lurking position, you need to be aware of where these positions are, and you maybe need to intend, also think twice. Should I interrogate these positions? Should I leave it? As Trixie is the next one to find a kill onto Spyro, and that pushes will now conclude in. Apple already onside, pushing out Naked. Now we have triple in the clinch, and UOT finds the last kill to Loki as he's spotted out on that battle stairs, making the flawless for Team Entropy, as Entropy completely directly shows this side is definitely winnable in attack with a brutal push with a lot of intel, making several things after the rulebook. Perfect take in round number one.
Perfect start. And about Clubhouse, it's interesting to remember that Clubhouse was a map where Entropy, they have won recently, and on the other hand, CrownZero, they've lost it already in the season, as we see again the play. So it's potentially a risky or tricky map for CrownZero, who need to start stellarly. They need to begin this thing perfectly to not allow Entropy to grow so much as Entropy on the last round of games here. Like I said, also E-Wave against Entropy. Entropy did such a massive work on the defensive side of the map, and then they just dropped it up against E-Wave. Obviously, E-Wave would be, if you take a look at the standings, they would be like considered like a less strong opponent compared to CrownZero. Obviously, CrownZero the best sixth team, and Entropy at the 10th position. So each team holding a spot at the standings. But hey, that doesn't matter anymore here because it's the middle zone of the standings we're talking about. Two teams trying to lock themselves up for the next phase of the championship, as we already have teams rotating, and especially Entropy trying to breach in again. I just like Mighty Ruin, how they did on the first round. I mean, they were patient enough to, do some picks, not expose totally their operators, and that totally paid off with this 1-0 at the scoreboard.
Conclude with an 0-1, that's for sure, as it already has been done. But we are in round number 2, and also the first push once again here is been interred by Apple, as he's not again being a little second too late. They're looking into Loki there. Maybe would have been the potential first opening. Loki is not afraid of throwing back as he's spotted out in some pits. Will be drawn onto that Tubero. 44 remaining HP there, as he was lucky that he didn't get dealt out of that round. Also the push once again, Bechi spotted out someone, pushed him down the staircase. He knows that for a fact, but doesn't show any more difficulties with it, as he's pushing forwards into that cache area.
Yeah, we see now Nerdy at a holding position, and yes, the first attempt against Lucky not totally successful, but yeah, enough to spook him out and make his life not be 100% anymore, as Entropy are looking solid also into the second round, with Jewett already taking down Nicket. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that's gonna be played out. A little bit of Claymore in this position of the garage, and CrownZero, excuse me, just like that already, with one man down to play the rest of the round, and they have lost Bandit. So let's see how that's gonna roll here, with Affle again repeating this pick. We have a little bit of an attempt here on rotations. Tokabi trying to, of course, make the telephone calls to bother the opponent. Now a little bit of the trade between both sides. Freddy trying to take Flick down. He was successful. And we see Freddy down to the ground, finally eliminated in this round by Lucky, who was enough, strongly enough to lock him to the ground again. 3v3, now a lot of smoke. We see the potential push into the bomb. They were already there, 2v2. This is a very, very much faster, I would say, round compared to the first one, Mighty Room.
I would say somehow it's the same pace, but definitely more forced back by CrownZero, though. As Alpha finds the first and also next on the second in the hands of Bechi, and that round also will conclude in for Entropy, as Entropy is playing these meta operators. Monty's off the board. What this immediately brought, yes, the Blitz is brought. That is what we're talking about. That's what we have been talking about all recent stages. It's also the thing that we've been talking about all major long. We have a current meta. It is still Deimos and it's still shield operators. Bring these guys on board as long as you have them available, because these guys bring you a huge advantage. And Entropy Just
Attackers
exactly
need to
that.
locate
Brings
and
a
defuse
lot of
bombs.
force with these operators, make it a lot of disruption in the game flow and also in the movements of these defenders, and absolutely clears them out. Yes, there was more feedback now by these players here from CrownZero, showing a little bit more life science here. Also had a huge chance of making that round theirs, maybe also gaining an advantage point. But every single time they got a few seconds of advantage, immediately Entropy was there with these back-to-back scenarios as they immediately get these refrags done. And that is especially the things that we are looking forward to. And one more thing is to keep in mind, we look into the roster that are playing tonight. We have Loki, Nerdy, Nicked, Spyro, and Fleeks. That is one of the typical rosters CrownZero has been putting out here in ESA so far. If we look into Entropy, there's a few adjustments happened so far. We have Alpha, Bitch, Trixie, Hewitt, very known players. Then we have Freddy. Freddy is an E-sub. He's not known to be played alongside Entropy in this competition. He's in somehow most likely subbed in for Rise, as Rise was known that he should play earlier today. He may not have made it for the first map, but may we also see a Rise Entropy for map number 2 potentially. Have that on back end, as Rise is definitely a huge player in the hands of Entropy, and it's a very high paid player as he's doing so many good things for his team, and it's very good, especially for these entry options that Entropy has so far. This map so far has gone completely in the hands of Entropy, but they need to watch themselves. As CrownZero has shown some life signs, and they may also be more and more awake for these further rounds.
And Rise surely a potentially a very, very, very good player to be brought to the lineup. You just mentioned him. Obviously, I was expecting to see him today, but there it is. He may come to the game potentially. Let's hope for that because he's a very good guy to watch and cast. As we already see, Entropy facing some struggle here to go down, but they have taken Flick down. So it's a game that, like you said, it's totally one-sided at this point. And we've talked before. I have mentioned their defensive strengths, but they have also played a very strong side against Penta Club at Chalet, and also against other teams in Haven. So it's a team that is ready to attack, and Entropy is showing that as we already see the replay. So it's good to see those fights coming up. Two different kind of rounds. At first, we had like some good amount of pickpockets, kills, and after that, I would say Entropy, they were more, I don't know, like eager to find the bomb site and play close to it. So there it is. There we go again. Mighty Rune to see what's gonna roll now as Becky already comes to fight against Nerdy. Good job. We have him playing so nicely now for this next movement, and it was a flawless round for Entropy. Fantastic team effort, and the kills were decisive.
I don't want to be disrespectful to CrownZero, but I will only say we have seen 3 rounds and it's already in the counter option of flawless round. We're already up in 2 from 3 rounds. So there's fans out there by Entropy. Where is that counter in chat? I want to see a flawless counter, as Entropy is known that they bring on a lot of flawless rounds, even though when you at least expected bring those back in chat. I want to see these flawless counters coming in and rolling into the chat. As this round is perfectly, once again, Entropy does so many things after their rulebook of how you're supposed to play Siege. Yes, CrownZero as well had some ancient nooks where they looked into opportunities of finding a kill, but it didn't make it, as Entropy put on pressure in the right sections where they saw the lacks of position, they saw a lacks of how the utility was placed by the defenders, and they completely abused that for their sake and completely pushed it on. As we see, a complete push has been concluded after 1 minute and 40 seconds. With you think there are multiple aspects that you do. They droned that. They got complete intel of where these operators are, where they are located in. They also found enough time to disrupt and also destroy a lot of gadgets that were brought by the defenders. And then also they made the perfect push and to conclude for that final take on site as it brought them themselves another flawless round. CrownZero not looking good so far.
Yeah, definitely not looking their day when it comes to Clubhouse. Let's see how they're gonna adjust to that, because the game's just starting, so there's a lot of room for improvement. There's a lot of room for changes when it comes to going further and further into the series, moving forward, potentially to the playoffs phase. We see now on the side of Entropy, potentially a good setup for this hard breaching. Got a lot of operators on that matter. We see Now Lucky trying to be close to the stairs and rotate in that area, so another chance for Alpha to make a eventual pick, since he's a very good 1v1 fighter, I would say, always bringing the team into these situations where he can, make an individual click and make the difference. So it's a 3v, is a 3 nil so far on the scoreboard, and Entropy is dictating the pace. I don't know what CrownZero could do to change this one, Mighty Room.
I don't know for sure, as well as I'm a little bit speechless of how CrownZero positions themselves. Very open positions, very crucial in these scenarios, as we once again, fourth round has been open and fourth round has been concluded with an opening frag in the favor of no other than Entropy game. We also, you spoke about it, Alpha 5-0 already after 3 rounds, not seen a single bullet to his head before of this round, now dealt down to 66% of health with the Ash, a tremendous weapon in the hands of Alpha, not making people think twice on to shoot on him. But there's no bullets coming through so far, as CrownZero is looking very answerless. They're not finding these keys where they should maybe interact, also adapt a little bit upon their own playstyle, as Entropy just makes it very hard for them immediately when there's some changes being brought in by CrownZero. Entropy finds those changes and adapt themselves so fast that CrownZero is not prepared for the final takes when they've been committed in. Maybe CrownZero should look into position themselves a little bit better, and also be able to stand in crosses that they're able to play alongside each other, and as a unit and a team maybe help each other out. As that is the case, as we see the final push coming in, Trix and Unit find more kills, and Alpha drops down and finds Nerdy and stays still on that O count. He's never died so far, 6-0 with another flawless, 4 rounds, 3 flawlesses. CrownZero, you gotta wake up, you gotta do attack timeout now, or it is too late. 0-4 from the attacks into the defenses. You have already tried to defend downstairs twice. Downstairs on Clubhouse is the most irritating spot for attackers to play upon. It's the easiest and it's the most defended favored spot in the entire map pool of RC Esport. And you lost it twice. That is not supposed to happen. It's not allowed to happen. So CrownZero really need to take attack timeout and should relax upon these. Once more said, after all the stats they've known, they know that, for instance, they have an analyst, they have a coach, and I think for sure that these 2 players, or these 2 men in the staff, have said you need to ban out maps as standards of Clubhouse, Nighthaven, maps that we don't play well. As well, we see the conclusion, we're playing Clubhouse, and CrownZero are not seeing a single square inch so far on that map.
5 seconds left.
They need to wake up, definitely. In the last round, we could see an almost, irritating easiness on Atlas mode as an Ash to flow from the upper floor to the ground, like using, this vertical work with an operator that you could never, I mean, you would never put it as a top, let's say, vertical work operator, right? So it's an Ash. It could be many others, but so easily is what I'm trying to say. Easily Entropy doing the rotations also from layer to layer, and surprising CrownZero were not able to respond so far to their strong opponent. At this point, we're seeing now a little bit of preparation, obviously, when it comes to the round number 5. So it's gonna be tough for CrownZero. Yeah, they do need indeed to wake up now. Has got to be now. And I was observing also, Mighty Realm, how we are not seeing some ops like Brava always being brought to the game, or Ing, so teams I would say ignoring them, and not also not using them so far to this point. So the game is getting interesting, and definitely the meta is changing. We have Lucky looking at the window now. Alpha was taken down now, so it's gonna be tough for Entropy to find those bullets, essentially.
Finally, the first ball has been dropped down on Entropy on Afla, as the first opening frag goes in the hands of CrownZero. Nickett is low though, he's been down. Is there maybe the next pick coming in by Nerdy? Nerdy is not hitting his bullets, as he won't find his shots on target there on Rafter Stairs. But still, advantage point gained so far for CrownZero, but immediately gets drawn back. Play back by MVG. Not by MVG, but Entropy. But Nerdy finds the kill on Bitch in the second approach. That was the shield player. So these 2 meta players out of the board. Hewitt already on site though, and the pressure's still coming in. Trixie finds the next kill, Hewitt finds the kill, and Freddy finds the kill. I would say CrownZero are looking stronger. They're getting there. They're awakening up a little bit, but it's not enough. They're not aggressive enough in the right moments. They're not hitting the bullets when they have the opportunities. Like the first interrogation of Nerdy as he was looking onto Rafter Stairs. There is no way for him to lose these bullets. You need to get those bullets on target and clear that kill for good, and then to be able to roam back freely on the set and helping his teammates out. This is going too fast.
Yet another example of how Entropy didn't have to sweat totally to win this one. They were, of course, being traded out on many occasions was tough. But the reason why I'm saying is like they didn't even need to like really use RAM, for example, to open those holes in the floor or like create a distraction, as we know that RAM can help the team with. And even without having to use so hardly all the operators primaries, like Entropy is totally ruling, and they are shredding CrownZero in this first map in what is looking a disaster for CrownZero. Definitely not an expected result for or by CrownZero fans, I would say, because hey, they did that. They did better than this like before, previously in other rounds, but now they're looking not so good. And also on the Entropy side of things, Mighty Rune, I would say it's so cool to see how these guys are like totally sharing the kills, right? They're not just concentrating, they are like having an organic kind of collective gameplay, as we see Betty already coming here. He was totally observed, maybe being countered. He was potentially not interesting encounter on both sides, but let's see how that's gonna play out. He's gonna go for it. Let's see if he's able to make his kill. Nice attempt, rolling and chasing his opponent down here at the basement. That was interesting to see.
That was interesting, and also these bullets are being drawn down onto Bechi. This is the third attempt of CrownZero going down into basement. They haven't won a single attempt so far, neither on that bomb site or other bomb site. They really need to look into gaining one round at this map. If they shall lose this first half with 0-6, it most likely will turn into a 0-7, and that is a neck breaker. We're in a best of 3 meta, so this map lost doesn't mean they're out of the competition, but it definitely means they're out of game flow. They're so much pressured on a new map, a map that is also quite known that Entropy feels confident on. It isn't their pick, it is the pick of CrownZero, but they still have Entropy feeling confident on that one, and so they won't make it easy for you there as well. And Entropy is definitely locked in, they're determined, they are on the spot for this matchup. I don't think the CrownZero will be able to take back on layer if they shall lose this map here with a 7-0. And also these crucial back roams from CrownZero, making them stand so vulnerable for their open headlines and also rotations. They maybe bite themselves a little bit back in the arse themselves as Entropy just abuses the given things that CrownZero just grants them for free. Also, Nick definitely not on the board. 0-6 after six rounds. It's not well. You're not having any interruptions. You're not having any type of adaptations for your teams. You're playing Legion round for round for round, and you're not getting these goo mines picked up and also be deployable. Entropy Gaming is definitely locked in here. The CrownZero are struggling horrendously in every aspect possible.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. There's no potential scenario where they're reversing this one, because also Entropy doesn't stop killing. We have again an attack. Lucky taking just double kill by him. Nice response in the follow-up moment. And there it is. Lucky is against a 3-player. It's gonna be tough, obviously not impossible. But there he comes to try to breach in this area. This room's gonna be interesting to be invaded. Taken down by Trixie, who was a very, very good player when it comes to being close and dropping this one up. So Entropy, once again, with a lot of information, with a lot of decisive and deciding power here against CrownZero, but in this one into a match point, Mighty.
I'm not sure what's happening here. 0-6 for Entropy. Yes, it's their map pick. We know for a fact that Entropy is good on standard maps, but we know for a fact that every standard map in the map pool, it was also run back all the way to Oregon. Oregon was a map where you said we at least needs to go to overtime. If we're not going overtime, we're not showing up for ourselves. If we don't even win the map. That's that. Same here on Clubhouse. It's a standard map. Every team should know how to play this map by inch and nook. And CrownZero is not giving it to us. CrownZero is struggling. I would say they have a few lacks of themselves, playing themselves hard ways of needing to be rotating a lot. They need to be a lot of movement, and they're crossing with their own fatals as they have rotations, they have headlines. They are completely playing against those. they're forcing Entropy of playing
5 seconds to
passive in the
insertion.
first approach, clearing our gadgets, and while they do that, they give
Attacker's
Entropy
objective is to locate a
headlines
bomb and
or maybe
defuse it.
visual sights where you can clean out players of your team because of these passive positions to clean out gadgets. And CrownZero is definitely not doing the things that they should do. They're now in the phase where they need to look back and also figure out ways in the attack now, draw in attention. They need to get intel out of the ball. They need to drone in clear. They gotta do it fast. They gotta find intel and work with that. They gotta find where these gadgets are and clear these gadgets out. As if they're not able to do those points, they won't find grounds on Entropy. I also have a lack that I think CrownZero is playing a little bit too passive in these scenarios where they should
Yep.
play aggressive. They're playing a little bit too aggressive in the scenarios where they can play passive and laid back. And Entropy Gaming has the intel right on the spot for every single aspect as they do so many things right. The first gunfight's coming in here, but UOT is being cleared out and Naked finds the first kill. That's another opening frag. That's the second opening frag after all for CrownZero, but he gets immediately refragged by Bechi as Bechi now recovers back into the first floor. I don't really know what CrownZero is supposed to do here to find back, because every single adaptation they bring so far, Entropy is there to knock them out.
Yeah, and what is pretty clear at this point is that Entropy Gaming has got the firepower, right? They're killing more, and that's not only because of the numbers, but how they behave over the rounds. And on the side of CrownZero, we have to state that they do not have one single player positive when it comes to KD. So these guys they're not trading. They're not finding the bullets damage. They're not dealing damage enough to try to counter Entropy, who are like overrolling in the map. And we have a potential 1-0 here when it comes to the game, when it comes to the series as a whole, because Entropy knowing what they do, and whenever they just lost their first player, they were able to like to respond to that immediately, already killing someone on the side of CrownZero. So it's gonna be tough for them, and we see now Nikki trying to repeat whatever Entropy did on their defensive side when it comes to, opening the breaches and getting the information, because that's how Entropy managed to build this 6-0 over here in Mighty Room. A lot of information, I have to say that again. Ash, we have to point Buck, also with Ram. So Entropy, they knew what they're doing. Now when it comes to CrownZero, I don't know about that.
I pretty much don't know either, as they only have 40 seconds left. They have open hatches, but they haven't been playing so far good out. That they're set for multiple entryways, as they need to push over these hatches. Yes, they're finding some blinds. It's equal man count, but they're looking out these doors as they're not able to lock out that utility that I spoke of. They have not enough information about the utility, and also the gadgets have been placed by the defenders. They have nothing left to clear these out, as they need to push in, and they're finding grounds where they not can look into these spots. Richie finds Fleeks, Loki finds Alpha, Freddy finds Nikit, as we have pushed into side. It's only Loki left. He finds Freddy, but he won't find any much more players as Bechi locks it down for his team of Entropy, making it a 7-0 flawless sweep against Team CrownZero. I would also say maybe it was weighted by CrownZero that they won't find any grounds on Clubhouse. But if you know so far that Clubhouse is your worst map,
Wow.
so far in the late stages, you're banning it out first. Yes, there are maps that you more likely don't mislike more than Clubhouse, but if you know for a fact Clubhouse is one of our worst maps so far in the recent games that we have played, you're always banning that map out first. 7-0 sweep, I would say Entropy is on the highest of things for map number 2. CrownZero definitely need to work their ass off now. It was
Yeah,
Entropy's
so
pick. We're going on the pick of CrownZero next, but I'm not determined of saying I have high hopes for CrownZero. What's about you?
I don't know what they're gonna be able to do. Again, we just saw Lucky, right? He was the only one, but one man cannot just take the whole team together. So he was trying. In many occasions, he was the last player alive on the side of CrownZero, killing and doing things, but that's not enough. Entropy was like massive, was knowing how to do everything they needed to do. So they were looking very, very strong. And obviously, just one stat on this map for both sides wouldn't be enough to totally foresee what could happen today, but hey, maybe that was the case. Definitely, Clubhouse is more of an Entropy map for now than a CrownZero's.
And CrownZero says. But I would say before we go into map number 2, we take a little break and we see each other right back after the break when we work upon of see a little bit more into the stats of Lair. Until then.
And we're back, guys, with a fantastic game so far. It's been awesome to watch how Entropy is playing against CrownZero as far as we are concerned. And obviously, I'm here with Mighty Room, who gave us a fantastic stats panel before the first map. And now we are having a chance, Mighty, to to share with folks whatever we can expect for the upcoming map. Fire.
We are on layer. It's a big scale map. We have talked about it earlier. I will take it a little bit back once again. But we have another thing to say. That was the third 7-0 we have seen so far in this Swiss stage. We had one in October, the 23rd of October, when MG Cook played against MG Minions on Cafe. That was a 7-0 for Cook. We had a 7-0 against Askerd, winning 7-0 on Chalet against Team Master last week in elimination brackets. So that was the third we had so far in this Swiss stage. And I'm pretty much speechless why CrownZero picked the map. That's so good. It's so well known for Entropy that they're playing so good at. Entropy is the diversion, and it's also the headmasters of showcasing how you're disrupting, destroying game flows and game setups on Clubhouse in attacks, and they are the masters of withholding and turning back scenarios in the defense of Clubhouse. I will
Yes.
say it once and for all: if you so ever play Entropy, never play Clubhouse. Never. Never try them on Clubhouse. They will
Yeah.
show way. They will show you
Oh, yeah.
why. Well, let's bring it back. We have spoken a little bit on stats recently. Lair is in the pool of the bigger scale maps. It's a new map. It's fairly new, so both teams have good chances here. I know CrownZero have done a lot of prep work for that map, so I'm pretty much hyped up to see if they can bring back now. If they can maybe get some more momentum in there. They are awake, but they need to get their heads in straight there now. As if they lose round 1 and 2, and we will sweep them here as well. As Entropy is known, they can play every single map skill out there in the map pool. Big scale maps winning 70%. That's 7 out of 10 maps on big scale. They win those maps. It doesn't care if it is Cafe, of its consulate, if it's Lair, if it's Night Heaven, they doesn't care. 70% of all these bands of these rounds that they're playing, they win these maps. So CrownZero have a huge gap to fill in, as they're not looking great on the first map to be going into the second map. I mean, either
Yes.
way, Lair fairly new, a lot of breakable floorage, a lot of corners to take care from, a lot of small rooms to be in perception of. And another thing, CrownZero need to adapt in their attacks as they're beginning the attacks now. They need to drone further. They need to look into possibilities of destroying gadgets, because these are the two most lacking points that we saw on Clubhouse. And if they don't do these things bad on Lair, they will have troubles.
They're gonna find themselves into a tough time, as you said. And let's see what is gonna happen. As we know that CrownZero, when it comes to big maps, we know that Mighty Room they have lost in big ones like Bank, like Cafe Dostoyevsky. You just said that Lar is a big map as well. So CrownZero may be looking into the second map, not so happily, but let's see how that's gonna be effectively played out inside of the map. As we're gonna have the banning phase now on both sides. And interestingly, like I said before, we never saw, we did not see on the first occasion some usual bands like Brava, like other ones. Anyways, we began just like we did at the start of this series. Maverick out of the game, obviously a very very strong pixel creator, right? Along with other operators, but especially Maverick, hard to respond to, so not in the game. Now let's see how CrownZero is gonna ban this one, and it's gonna be a blitz to not having to deal with that kind of flashy, surprising attack, right?
Not having to play against these flash attacks, and also the pure pushness that came in perspective here by Entropy speak for itself.
Yeah,
Maverick now banned out by
true.
Entropy this time. The answer comes from CrownZero as they ban out Blitz. Very understandable, as we just saw how much disruption, also how much pressure Beichi was putting onto the shoulders of CrownZero with that Blitz. Vigil off the board. A little bit less understandable for my take, because CrownZero isn't playing Vigil so frequently.
Interesting.
Um, but Entropy does it. So very understandable why that ban concludes in, as he in multiple hands of Entropy Gaming is a pure menace. And in the hands of Entropy, they're banning a Clash. That's very interesting. That's an operator definitely just determined in for this map of Lair. They don't want to face a Clash on this map. So none of these big scale bans coming in here, as
Yep.
Monty is the most highest ban rate alongside a Ying for the hands of Entropy. We don't have a Brava ban in the most favorite handset of CrownZero. So
Yes.
this are, like, I would say, predicted bans and also preferred bans upon your opponent of
Defenders,
just
protect your bombs
pressurizing
from being
what
defused by
operators they can
attackers.
play. But look, let's look into these lineups. We have a Brava and a Broad in the hands of Nikit. That's a huge and big operator in the hands of favor of destroying gadgets. Same goes for that Twitch. They had a
Yes.
lot of these Vulcan canisters. They had these bandit charges. They need to destroy those. That's what I talked about. So currently, look a little bit more awake now and playing on looking into what have these operators been brought into by the defenders and looking into possibilities of destroying those, having like a game strategic plan or concluding onto the build-up. I
10
like that,
seconds to
but I'm
insertion.
pretty much not faced and said I'm convinced that this will be
5 seconds
good
left
for
before
CrownZero.
insertion.
And it's interesting to see, a ban in
Attackers
Vigil.
objective
We
is
know
to locate a
Vigil
bomb and
directly
defuse it.
counters demons, for example. So, CrownZero, maybe you're afraid of entropies, chasing power or, punishing kind of power. We don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe it was a pretty much, a straightforward ban towards entropy. But all of that is not going to be taken into account, obviously, since we already hop into the first round now with a very much. Gadgets based loadout inside of CrownZero, just like you said. There can be to find opponents, but Brava, also Twitch. So I'm hoping for a more tactical CrownZero, having information and knowing where exactly to attack without having to expose themselves so much, because they do know that today Entropy is fighting and is fighting well and hard. So far in this game, that is, worth a position into the playoffs phase, as we do know. Over here, Mighty Room. So let's see how that's gonna go.
Let's see how this map will roll. As you mentioned, I would love to see a CrownZero play a little bit more tactical, have things in mind, like certain droning out, gaining intel, and playing upon toes, as they also need to be focused and saying we need to
Bomb
destroy
located by
gadgets
attackers.
and
Yeah.
disrupt the utility of these defenders, as we else won't find any goods of it. Fleek's finding the first kill onto Afla. Afla, a huge player in the hands of Entropy, getting found out. Fleek's gaining an opening frag for his team, but then gets back with a refrag here. But the refrag gets refrag instantly once again. Now CrownZero also the thing that I said that was also lacking. They need to look into perspectives of opportunities of bringing force, of not only setting themselves back, but also looking into options of immediately getting these refrags done. Even out counts, as now they have gained themselves a double advantage point with having 4 mans in their count against 2 in the counts of Entropy. Don't take this for granted. Entropy is good on coming back though, but this looks like a more convincing CrownZero. That looks more like the CrownZero that we had on paper, that is possible and has the advantage plus to win these maps.
Definitely, and I'll say CrownZero's fan now is happy. He's smiling, from ear to ear, because they're looking into an Entropy with Goyo and Doc, right? It's gonna be tough for them to fight. Let's see how they're gonna be doing that. Now, Freddy taking Nerdy down though, so he was able to respond to that. Maybe bringing Entropy back into the round. We do not know. Freddy, good one against Nikit. Oh my lord, making this info. There it is, Freddy, triple kill. Fantastic roll! What a streak of damage!
15 seconds
Now
to
leaving
go.
just Aspire alone against Duet and Freddy. What
10
a
seconds to
first
go.
round by Entropy, reversing total expectations. He comes down to the ground. Spyro was an honor, a brave soldier. But down he went with Entropy doing this one very, very well, precisely, and especially at the end, Mighty.
I'm blown away. I mentioned it. Don't take advantages for granted against
Yes.
Entropy. You need to
Oh, yeah.
play these out smooth. You gotta play them out smart. And what happens? We got ourselves an E sub rising above and shining where he can shine the brightest, as Freddy gains himself a triple kill. Not
Wow.
only taking back, but nearly winning this round for Entropy in itself. What a player to have as an E sub. Freddy, known for multiple prior teams, that he is a good one to have in your sake as an E sub. I would also say Entropy is that one play that you should look into and also say, that is maybe a guy that we should pick up, as that scenario is what Freddy is known for. In the last seconds and also in the most important moments when you need him the most, he's always there to help you out.
Yeah, Ready was a force, right? And just like I said, man, more collective driven kind of operators. You're looking into a Goyo, into a dog. So, okay, what can these guys do? But actually, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what the primary, what the op is. If you got the bullets, if you got, the firepower, you can win this one. So that's what Entropy did. They were amazing when it comes to the final seconds in battles. They were able actually to reverse totally, like I said, expectations from CrownZero's side. And on the other hand, CrownZero, man, I was gonna say nice things, about your choices when it comes to gathering information and collecting pieces of infos. But again, they didn't bring the round at the end of the day, so it doesn't matter much. They're gonna have to change that around again and see what they can do in the second round as we're already hopping into it. All the men alive, obviously. Let's see now how this attack's gonna be played out by CrownZero, as we already have Lucky try to sneak and get some information, so they do know what is the room to work at. Let's see if they're gonna be able to bring these bullets against Entropy.
I would also say we should look into the things. CrownZero, that was a round that you shouldn't have lost. That was a round that you should have won.
Yeah.
Is if Entropy didn't do what they're known for the most. You always need to look into of locking these rounds down. You also need to find ways of closing them out for yourself before you get drawn back to these equalizations in man counts, especially. That didn't happen. Entropy is not struggling of finding back ways into the rounds, but CrownZero is definitely lacking when it's about closing them out and closing them down. The entry of CrownZero was perfect. A lot of pressure, immediate getting refrags. I like this CrownZero a lot better than on the CrownZero that we saw on Clubhouse so far.
Yes.
But still, we aren't there. These grounds are not evened yet. CrownZero is a little bit lacking off, a little bit lowered than Entropy, and they still need to find these right clues in their sake.
They do, yeah, but like you said perfectly, they're behaving differently already, so that's a plus. I would say that's maybe potentially for them the beginning of a change of another landscape when it comes to facing Entropy here. But down he goes, Flick not able to take Trickets down, as we have just Nerdy versus 4, and Doc again is healing everybody on the other side, so it's gonna be impossible for Nerdy to do anything else, as Afla proved himself again, a force, a major force, a pillar in this squad. So again, Entropy doing it all, and especially in the last moments of the round, defining things for them. 2-0 2-0 here, CrownZero in bad shape. I was gonna say, Mighty Realm, that the Duck Cabby could be more punishing. It was not. So I don't know. CrownZero is trying to change the choices, but it's not enough up to this point.
I can't say anything against that. It's pretty much how it is. CrownZero having good reasonable openings. They have good entryways. They're droning a lot more than they did in that round they had on Clubhouse. Yes, we didn't see so much of them from the attacking side of perspective on Clubhouse, as it was a 7-0. But they're doing the things that I mentioned. They need to drone better. They need to get intel of where these operators are roaming at. They need to find ways which operators are being brought and where the utility engagements are placed. When they're doing that, and they also begin to play out and just picking all these gadgets, but they're lacking off in like the final approaches of when it's into gunfights, and also getting the final approach on target. They have not been on target once so far, as Entropy always meets them up high and close out these entryways and also these walkways before they even happen for CrownZero.
Oh yeah, and now Entropy with a chance of doing what they did on the first map, rolling into a 3-0 and so forth and so on. Let's see if they're gonna be able to keep the momentum. They have all the good choices. They have been working as a machine and defeating CrownZero so far, to a point where the third map's not even at a far distant horizon. I don't know if that's gonna even happen, but we don't want to jinx teams. Let's just see how they're gonna play this one. Spyro trying to open a hole here. He's gonna try to rotate using this Apple Pixel. Oh, another nice of course, pack of openings by Buck, as we could expect. and both teams in a very, very high level of concentration. Trixie again against Spyro. He's trying to go for a double kill, rotating again and getting back to it with
What
a
is
double
happening?
kill. Fantastic
What is happening?
player.
You
Again,
have-
defining the moment.
You have Trixie completely peeking out. Gets
yeah.
the kill onto Spyro. You have Fleeks being closed in, making some force of getting that refrag done. Trixie moves out with his shotgun in hand. You have one guy outside, way too far away, still on the drone when the interrogation is coming in. You know where the player is. You know for a fact the Fleeks is fighting 1v1 against a shotgun close range. What are you doing? You need to move in. You gotta get off the drone and move in as fast as you possibly can. Get your feet in your hands and run and help your team out. You're playing passive, you lose another teammate, and when you then move in, you have no more slight clues where he is. You have no more slight clues of opportunities where to deal him out. Unfortunately for Entropy, Trixie gets dealt with in the hands, but let's look at the man counts of CrownZero. CrownZero downed onto 2 guys left. Entropy still 3 guys on full HP. They have complete time in their manners. They've won 2 minutes prior. They only still have not taken full advantage of top floor, as we already and still have Alpha up on top. Nerdy and Nick need to find ways of getting down. Alpha already saw these feeds coming in, but he's playing passive. He's waiting for his moment. He needs to figure out a way as he finds the first. Alpha finds the kill onto Nicked. Now it's Nerdy. Nerdy swinging in. Alpha knows for a fact where he is. He doesn't get these bullets dropped down as Alpha concludes and closes out this round as well. And we have an 0-3 once again in the favor of Entropy. CrownZero is looking better than the CrownZero that we saw proudly on Clubhouse. I will say it again, they do many things right, but the things that count the most, these gunfights and also your entry and your approach race on target, lacking completely. You don't have the right intel in the moments where you need them. You're too passive in these moments where you have the interrogations against an opponent where you need to be more aggressive to get these kills gone concluded. And every single time you have to play passive, just wait for your chance. You're playing into active and running in the lines of sight that is pre-held in the crosshair placements of Entropy. I don't really much know what to say. I want to say some much more good things about CrownZero, but CrownZero is not giving me any grounds as they are lacking of the important bits. They have intel, but they don't act upon those.
Yeah, they're not able to step up versus Entropy. And interestingly, we just saw in the last round, Nicky using his Graham, trying to push him closer. But then the thing is, as we know, like Graham is going to help you a lot, especially on the post-plan situations. But CrownZero is not even getting there. So many of the choices that CrownZero are bringing up, they're not paying off. And on the side of Entropy, we need to say again, the dock on the hands of Freddy, right? He's just there. He's like laid back, comfortably healing everybody around. So this guy is almost never taken down. He was not taken down this second map so far, Mighty Rune. So it is the case of an Entropy that knows what they're doing and their plan is working and they're not having to change it a lot, I would say, and that's very much worrisome for CrownZero. We're not able to build so far one single round, right? So we're talking about a 10-0 so far, 10-0, of course, summing the first 7 rounds and also these 3 now on the side of Entropy. It's massive. It's a massive performance by Entropy, so far behaving as a playoff team.
Bomb located by attackers.
They're playing as a complete playoff team. They play as a team that is bearing the name of Entropy Gaming. Entropy Gaming,
yeah,
multiple ESA champion team. They have a legacy, not only to defend, but to make their own. As Entropy has made some frequent roster changes, I'm not sure which of these players that are playing for Entropy now have already won the title before, but I'm pretty much dedicated to say every single one that hasn't won the title so far with Entropy is determined of gaining themselves that title this time. Entropy, 5 titles already, and they want that 6th one. They want that 6th star for themselves, and they're pretty much working for it as hard as you possibly could imagine.
Yeah, like you said, try to bring those glory days back on track, back to the table here, as we already have Afla taking Nerdy down. Freddy also bringing a nice follow-up against Lucky. So far, an overall, like a nice ride by Entropy. Also on second map, and on the side of CrownZero, Flores as a change. That Tokebi is getting repetitive. That buck on the hands of Spyro, okay, did some nice rolls. Let's see if that information is going to help him out. Again, Buck doing Buck things. Let's see how Flores on the hands of Naked is gonna play out because Naked has been the guy most changing their operators and his choices. Let's see if that's gonna help them somehow. Do it. Another kill on his hand. Spire responding now. We're talking a 4v2 and Entropy looking solid, but not yet taking that. But let's see how that's gonna go. Just like I mentioned, Afla and Duet finishing this one down, and Entropy is ahead again. These guys are unstoppable today. Am I the wrong? I don't know if there's even a game yet from this point on.
I would love to say something. I would love to
I
conclude
see
in
you're
with
striving on
opinions
that.
of saying um ways and also call things that CrownZero should do
Defenders,
better or
protect your
could do
bombs from being
better
defused
to
by attackers.
figure out a way of entering this competition, gaining points on the board. But I'm not getting any. I can't find those. I'm so sorry. I'm doing my best here as the analytic here, but I'm pretty much not finding any clues where CrownZero from this point on further can mount on in, as this is a menace. This is their worst night dream. I would say pretty much Entropy Gaming is not Entropy Gaming, it's a fortress. And that fortress moves from map to map and scares
10
everyone
seconds left
away.
before insertion.
Every single approach on that fortress, on that castle
5
built
seconds
by
to
Entropy
insertion.
has just been raided back with saying, we will smack you once.
Attackers are moving out
If
to
you need a
locate a bomb
second
and defuse
smacking,
it.
we'll smack you for good so you never come back. There are no grounds for CrownZero having possibilities or even have singularly tries to destroy the game flow of Entropy. Entropy stays their line, stays determined and calm with their game flow, with their game strategic plans being brought by their coach and their analyst, and you're seeing what these staff members of Entropy do good.
Definitely, my friend. And you know what is even more bizarre than everything you very well described? Entropy managed to, build a 5-0 on their attacking side on the first map, and now they're doing almost that on their defensive side. So Entropy, they know how to play the game. And on the side of CrownZero, I just hope no players on their squad actually, uninstall the game after this match because it is a disaster. CrownZero not finding any kind of choice, any kind of alternative when it comes to try to face Entropy in a different way. Everything they try is not coming and it's not bringing them a positive result. And like I said, Nickit changing his operators again. We even see Flick with a Monty. We see Nickit with a Nomad. So let's see if they're going to be changing the landscape of the game, of the map as a whole. We see a Rams try to create that kind of loud movement out here. And CrownZero, struggling again to attack. So let's see how they're going to play this one out, as we have Nutty already trying to get information and move a little bit. Lucky also trying to use this nice spot over here, and CrownZero looking grim and grim.
I would also say probably one of the things that we should maybe look into and also say that is maybe some of the advantage gainers for CrownZero. They need to abuse more of these meta players. They banned a Blitz that did so good for Entropy, but they have a Monty, and now finally Monty is picked. Another operator that they really should look into or picking up is the Deimos. We have no Vigil on board. Deimos is such a menace, such a pure weapon in that matter of Siege. We saw it on the Major. I would just name Maya clutching rounds 03, 02, post-planned for himself. Only Deimos left. We had a Shaiko completely ripping apart teams with Deimos. We had teams in the favor of Black Dragons ripping every single one apart with the Deimos. G2 having good impact with Deimos. Why are you not picking up these players? And one more thing to say, Rise is still missing. Freddy is doing good for Entropy, but Rise is missing. Rise is the strongest player in the favor of entries for Entropy, as we look down here and the conclusion's down, and it's Freddy making a runner. He's figuring out a way of closing down someone. He's not finding a Spiral locks down, and finally the first round on the board. Is this the saving grace? Is this the hallelujah for CrownZero? Are they awake? Are they prepped? Are they ready? Are they steady with these operators? They finally brought back one player in the meta category. They brought the Monty on the board and gained themselves the first round. Monty did a lot of disruption in the game flow of Entropy, pushed onto site, gained a lot of momentum, and forced these players to move. And by that, he had players in his team crossing out and figuring out ways of aiming these off. Entropy definitely needs to look into. They will know for a fact now there is a Monty coming forward. There's a Monty pressurizing us for this round. But I would say that was too late. Even though still, CrownZero should have taken a timeout. Maybe try to disrupt the game for a little bit of Entropy, as Entropy still looks too strong. And if you just think about it, with Monty gaining an advantage, they found their first round. They can find one more before then Entropy pulls over into the attack and could bring Monty 6
Seconds left
times.
before insertion.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, so CrownZero can use the Monty. Imagine Entropy with the Monty, right? Considering all their fighter power that we have mentioned today. So far, considering their offensive qualities and strengths, let's see how that's gonna happen. If that happens, it's gonna happen. Now, as we move into the round number 6 in a very, very one-sided series so far, as Entropy is looking to go into the playoffs phase, but it's not over. CrownZero having a breach, having a chance here to change things around, and they also changed their choices. Let's see how they're gonna play this one. I was kind of excited to see a Jackal on their hands. They quickly changed it for Brava, which is awesome as well. But I say that because you're mentioning demos, right? So maybe Jackal like going for the hunting kind of, philosophy, but they changed it for Brava to get information, and Trixie getting back to doing Trixie things. He's a very good dealer of damage. He's a hard guy to face in the game, as we see a 4v4 now, and Entropy having to change things too to face this CrownZero who's trying to get back to the game. They don't want to see CrownZero, growing so much, so Entropy is gonna have to get back at playing toughly and strongly. But Nikit takes Afla at this point down to ground. Grim looking so strong when it comes to the life side of things, but there it is. It's still 1 man ahead for CrownZero.
I gotta say something. Finally, Nikit found himself a kill. He is
Yes.
in perspective. He is
Definitely.
1-12 so far. 1-12. Not good. It's not the Nikit we know. It's not the Nikit that we all loved, apparently, in multiple seasons. Meanwhile, advantage game for CrownZero. I wasn't convinced because we moved away from the Monty once again. After my opinion, Monty did so much good and maybe also saved multiple good scenarios for CrownZero. We have pulled away from that Monty again, and we have lost 2 minutes on the take because we have nothing to move in with force. Yes, we have the advantage point, but Nikit is low down on 7 HP, and you look how calm Entropy is moving. They're looking confident, they're looking comfortable, even though the floor, the roof edge into second floor is open, and they have multiple verticals against them, and they're still looking so calm. And we're down to 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. And Fleeks and CrownZero are not close for target.
Yeah, we see, like you said, Nikit pretty weak, Mighty, and yes, that could be the case of a inequality when it comes to the manpower. We're gonna see if Entropy are gonna be able to fight this one just with 2 players. But it's not just any 2 players. It's Jewett and Freddy. We see that combination. We've seen it before in previous rounds. Now, not so luckily, Jewett was taken down by Nikki, who has been fighting hard and nicely so far, killing and defining things around. Now for CrownZero to move into their second round. So, yeah, good point. Good news for them. And a slight change as well in their pace, into their posture, wouldn't you say?
You change the posture, you figure out ways of finding rounds on the board. Yes, Entropy is struggling a little bit now. CrownZero won a second round without a Monty. Nikit found kills on low HP. 3 kills in 1 round, triple kill done. Dealt out the round nearly by himself for CrownZero. Finally, we have all the guys at CrownZero awake and prepped and ready and locked in for this matchup. Well, the thing that scares me here is we're in attack. We have Monty on the board for Entropy.
Yeah.
And we know how the meta is going. Shields Menace for Siege. We also know how Lair is going so far in the favor of
left before insertion.
ESA in attacks. We have 44.4% win
5 seconds to
rounds
go.
for the attacks, and we have 55% win rounds for
Attackers
the
must
defense.
locate and defuse a
Yes,
bomb.
CrownZero is in the favor now of saying we have the better side. We have won 2 attacks, and we have lost 4 attacks. We are in the side where we say that is the normal switch that we are approaching to see. A 3-3 would have been much better for CrownZero, especially because they're with their backs against the wall. We know how good Entropy is on attack. We know how much pressure they can bring and how aggressive they are. So I'm lacking off a little bit of having troubles of saying where is the problem.
No, you're absolutely right. I would say that CrownZero now having to keep that breath, to keep the air that they suddenly have found. Like you said, 3 would be different, but now they have 2 rounds to work with and a very interesting area denial kind of combo here. We see Legion, we see Mute, we see the Chanka. Let's see how that's gonna help them somehow, because Entropy are confident again with Monty, 2 and Buck, and a lot of firepower as usual. And we're loving to see this game, surely,
Attackers have
because
located a
that's
bomb.
going to be a little bit of a taste of whatever we're going to be seeing into the playoffs upcoming in this season. We have a breach now by Freddy. And we also have to talk about Freddy, right, in a sec, because we see Loki now taking him down, and we see a follow-up by Flick against Afla. I was just going to mention how consistent of a player he has been on the side of Entropy, defining things as well and helping the clan. But now it's CrownZero who are, crowning themselves into this reverse imposture. 4v2 now. Let's see if there's anything left for Entropy, as Trixie was almost taken down.
Okay, and in this final here, the first defense looking very good for CrownZero. Being laid back, playing very calmly, bringing in these right amounts of aggressiveness with the shotguns in hand. Fleeks now with the Legion shotgun in hand. Made some good kill there. Affleck dealt with, even though Affleck is him in this matchup so far, dealt with. Freddy dealt with. It's Trixie and Hewitt left. Yes, they can clutch it back as well, but just look into these defensive lines of CrownZero. They need to be caught off guard. The first interrogation is to be concluded as we just switch away, and Hewitt finds a kill onto Spyro. And Spyro was not looking forward to someone coming in close there. Already look into the next kill. Is there someone close? No, there's not. Fleeks finds a kill on Hewitt. Trixie finds Fleeks in return. It's 1 against 2. It's Loki and Nicked. Nicked moves forward, close to the headline. He's in death position. Trixie will conclude down the hallway. Will he find the angle onto Fleeks? No, Nicked, I mean, no, he won't, as Nicked finds another round. And we are down to a 4-3. That means we're not having a new record of unevenness in a best-of-3 series. The most uneven series we've had so far have been a 7-1 and a 7-2 so far. So this is at least being a 7-3. So it's not going down as the matchup with the most difficult fairness.
And Entropy losing this one with strong operators. It's not the same Entropy, right? We just mentioned CrownZero is different. Entropy is behaving differently too. Something is happening. Maybe the focus is not the same anymore. And also CrownZero knowing what they're doing, finding those spots. I'm liking, Naked's posture. He's fighting back, he's rolling the map. He's being what Trixie has been for Entropy, right? So yeah, Naked, a major force on their side, and it's been such a special player to find those kills and help the clan. As we see that they suddenly reopen the conversation here, might be wrong. These guys are finding their way potentially into a third map.
They're definitely leaning into a third map. They want to go all the way. They want to have a shot onto that final ticket. They want to go all the way of not only showing, yes, we had a tremendous loss, a very horrible loss against an on Clubhouse, but we are able to fight back, and we will show you guys why we got into semifinals at the LAN, lost against Entropy, but this time we want to take this back and have the opportunity of taking our revenge. But before that will begin, we're back at the caster desk. We will have a rehost. So I will say we will see each other right back in action when the rehost have been concluded. Until then.
And we're back with this exciting second map between CrownZero and Entropy, Big Igor Lennox and Mighty Ruin. And we're seeing a different landscape, a different scenario like we've seen in the first map, right, my friend?
We're definitely seeing a way of changes as we have CrownZero nearly equalizing the round count here before the rehost 4-3 in the
10
favor
seconds
still of
remaining.
Entropy. But we have found ways. Entropy has lost rounds
5
against
seconds left.
CrownZero. CrownZero has found ways of locking down, not only locking in, but
Attackers'
locking
objective is
down
to locate a
rounds
bomb
for
and
their
defuse it.
sake. And they've already found ways on how to work against these shields. I was hyped for a second in both rosters.
A bomb has
Spyro
been located.
on the new operator on Scopos, an operator in the defense that can bring you a lot of mayhem, but it can also give you a lot of good grounds, as that operator can be so multiple sided. He's already spotted out. That's the reason why we got to replay onto that IQ, because you want to deal that out at first for the hands of Entropy. Meanwhile, I was a little bit hoping that Entropy will bring an operator in the forms of Deimos. Deimos will immediately picked away as Alpha is the first opening frag here. CrownZero being aggressive now. CrownZero, is this the saying grace? I said you need to be aggressive more and move together as a unit. Be aggressive when you could be aggressive and be passive in these scenarios where you don't need to be aggressive. And we are seeing these changes coming in. These grounds are good so far.
And CrownZero definitely grasping to what they found when it comes to the side combination, right? The defensive side of things plus layer, like you mentioned before. So if that's what they got, okay, fine, so be it. And they're doing a good job. They're converting the defensive round so far and putting up a show, putting up a nice effort against Entropy. As we see that they already got 1 man ahead. Like you said, Alpha down, it's trouble for Entropy Gaming. Let's see how they're gonna fight this one to the end. We see a lot of information on both sides, and here with Spyro expecting to get into action. The operator as well, interesting one by the way. And we're gonna see Jewett trying to rotate more. Let's see how this game is gonna roll, because yes, Entropy needs to get back to working and finding solutions against CrownZero console for the second map.
They need to find some adaptations to find answers to CrownZero. One good thing dealt with, though, is that the Talos or the Colossus already, one of these two robots, has been concluded. Spyro only has 1 more left. That means he's back on site. We've gained all the roam clear after 2 minutes. It took them a lot of time. They've lost 1 player in the process, but now they're struggling with time. With 40 seconds left for the final take, they have not cleaned out much utility downstairs, as this may be around another round for that sake. Looking perfectly well and good set for CrownZero. 30 seconds left, and the build-up isn't ready yet. The final conclusion, the final take isn't in progress yet. The 10 plays against, but Trixie finds a kill on Loki, making it an even 4-man count.
Yeah, as I was gonna say, the patience game, you know, suits better Entropy. At least that has been the case today. And CrownZero needing to keep up the pace, otherwise it's gonna be read like a book by Entropy. We already have a 4v4, now a 4v3, interesting for Nerdy, taking Becky down, as we see Trixie obviously planting the diffuser. So Flicks going up on that one, going for a double kill, and speeding things up. Just because I mentioned CrownZero, yeah, seizing the moment, seizing the speed, and making this one happen to go over and fight Entropy very nicely, Mighty.
I'm happy about how these terms just changed. We have an equalization through a 4-4. CrownZero is looking better. No, they're not looking better. They're looking determined, and the determination of gaining back the advantage on their map pick is giving them a lot of goods. It's giving them momentum. It's giving them belief and hope in themselves of closing out round after round after round, giving them a lot of energy back from the recent map where they just completely got swept and don't have had a standing chance against Entropy, as Entropy really needs to look into perspective and find answers ASAP for these defending lineups of CrownZero. CrownZero definitely have done their work up full air. They're pretty much well set for this map. We're looking into that as of this moment, and I would say I'm hoping Entropy turns a little bit to bring out more utility. They need to bring more aggressiveness. Maybe a multi is the right pick. Bring some more meta. You saw how much meta brought you on Clubhouse. That was the safe man route on Clubhouse, and we're not having it this map so far.
Yes, definitely a lot of changes in the scenario, and CrownZero now finally adjusting those points and knowing what they do against Entropy. I'm liking even more this map. Obviously, as a caster, we always want to see the most even maps as possible, and we are seeing a very good layer so far. 4v4 when it comes to the
Attackers have
rounds.
located a bomb.
Now, Entropy already know where the C4 is. It's a matter of getting there, and obviously getting there entirely as a squad. We see Afla doing his own playstyle again, trying to get information, having the chance of responding to this one at a from a safe and far away position. Entropy now trying to slow down things a little bit, try to seize the moment and not, allow themselves to lose one or two guys like it has been happening against CrownZero. CrownZero, on the other hand, are looking more solid, bringing Legion more. At this time, we see how this is gonna play out now, since we're moving into a more of an action moment, and Entropy definitely having to search for those keys again. They've done that so far so well at this series, fighting and getting the kills and being positive. When it comes to numbers, we see a bit of an opening here. Freddy rotating with his buck. So yeah, it's a very slow around. That's true, Mighty. Let's see who that's gonna be favorable to.
Still already have dealt and done the first half of this round. We have not gained so much out of it so far for Entropy. As CrownZero is looking chill, they're looking laid back so far. Well, yes, Alpha is close onto the first box. He finds the first. That was Nickit on the mute. Now they need to watch themselves. Yes, we are playing vertical. Spyro finds a kill on pitch, equalization it very quickly on. That was the ace. And an important player, especially for these outside breach potential. Why isn't that breach open already? Well, all these gadgets already used by Abechi. Nerdy finds an action on Afla, and Entropy is looking aparted. They're not finding ways of playing together. They're not finding answers. And Fleek sneaks up behind them, behind their backs, finding Freddy and shutting them out. Is this potential the round where CrownZero takes the lead for the first time in almost 16 rounds?
Yeah, we see Duet taking Nerdy down, and like you said, Entropy looking now a little bit more passive, not being able to respond always to CrownZero. And Lair definitely, bringing a lot of surprising things here. As you said before, very nicely, it looks like a different moment of the series as a whole, because Lair is accommodating, good and bad points from both teams. We see now Spyro, and there it is, Lucky, finishing this one off against Trixie. So very good job again by CrownZero squad. And going ahead, move onwards, having one more point and showing Entropy what they're capable of. And suddenly, not only Lair accommodating a lot of those variables, right? And a lot of surprising room here, but also Cafe Dostoyevsky beginning to look more feasible, a map that obviously where both teams have won in this very season. So it could be a very nice and interesting third map, but so far Entropy still having some chance. Let's see if they're gonna use this wisely, right, Mighty?
They will definitely need to use those wisely. They only need 2 more rounds to clock it off and all close it away. You look, they are having 5 rounds game flow. They don't want to mess this up now. They only need 2 more. They're in the flow to close it out and go all the way to decider. They want to have this point. They only need 1 more to be in a guaranteed overtime. And we all know what overtime here in elimination matches means. It's unlimited overtime. I'm pretty much still saying I'm not hoping for those, because I have had bad matches with unlimited overtime beforehand. But hey, this match pretty much deserve it. But Entropy took a timeout. They have been slacking off for the past 5 rounds. They need to figure out ways of getting back on the board. Bitchy now, back on the Monty. Is this finally the takes that I'm talking about? Do they need to bring the meta to find answers upon CrownZero? CrownZero are faced once again against a shield player. Now they need to find ways of clocking that shield out.
Yeah, having to fight against the Monty is always tough. So yes, that she going for that safer, strong kind of option when it comes to the operator. Let's see how that's gonna help them, because yes, they're looking like they need help. Entropy needing to bring back the first map Entropy spirit. Also here to Lair, to not allow themselves to go into Cafe Dostoyevsky, which would be tough, of course, because this CrownZero is just seizing the moment. So that could be
10
it for
seconds to
Entropy
go.
if they do not respond quickly over here. And on the side of CrownZero, Mighty, we see a lot of repetitions when it comes to the choices. That Legion always in their hands. They are liking a lot to use also the mute. So Meluzinal, Cade, and Fenrir. Let's see how Entropy are gonna be fighting those ops with their own choices. Gridlock, we have Grim, have obviously Florist, Monty, and Ace. So yes, opening power, yeah, some hard breaching on their hands, and also some I would say air denial with Gridlock and Grim and all. Let's see how that's gonna roll over here. How teams are gonna clash also on those plans.
So I would say the biggest thing here that CrownZero should be prepped for and also need to find ways for is the shield onto Betchy. The thing that Entropy really need to look into and also have in mind is the multiple occasions being brought of shotguns for CrownZero. We have a Fleeks once again down on that shotgun by the Legion. We have Nerdy on the shotgun of the Mute, and we also have the TSG being brought by Naked. These are 3 weapons that can be so brutalizing, having so heavy impacts on your health bar. So we are looking in of seeing which team is better prepped and saying we counter these out. Bitchy already making pressure, making save, and making sure that unit is opening up that breach. He needs to have some holes there he can move through with the Monty. He's using it as a bait. He's giving a call through that there's a Sophia being thrown. Before it's thrown, he doesn't find any hits though. And the next opportunity, the next thing makes a lot of damage in the game flow is these barriers by the Fenrir, these Fenrir gates. Are we able to close those out and destroy them before they can bring mayhem? The first interrogation is in, and Freddy finds his kill onto Spyro. Also, Fleek's HP is shrinking as he's moving back, but he's finding the kill onto Alpha. This is a huge one. Immediately, we get it drawn back, and Hewitt finds the refrag on Fleek's. Beachy, another kill on that shield, makes it a 4-2. Trixie is close to saying, I make it a 4-1. Now it's Naked alone against 4, and Hewitt closes it out, makes it a 5-5, and saying, we are so back. Monty being brought, Monty causing disruption in the game flow of CrownZero once again, forces CrownZero moving a lot, grants Entropy these walkways, these walk entries of getting in position to open breaches, to get angles, preset themselves, maybe getting in the momentum of catching CrownZero players off guard, and then immediately they draw back on the 5-5. I would say meta brought by Entropy causes mayhem for CrownZero.
Yes, and guess what? I would say Entropy is gonna be bringing Monty all over until the end of this map. They don't care if it's open; it can be picked, right? So yeah, Monty, Buck, Ash. So they're coming in hard, and that's the Entropy we've seen so far in the series. A very strong offensive side now against CrownZero. You could almost say, right? If you just got into the stream here into the match, you could say, okay, maybe CrownZero's window is over, it's closed, because they played so well so far. They could, dictate the pace and all, but Entropy, they're back and they're attacking better. They have already showed that in the past round. Let's see if that's gonna be the case. Let's see, on the other hand, if CrownZero
I will do you one
show their strength is. So yeah, 5 versus 5, Mighty. It's a very, very good game.
It's a very good game, but I will do you one better. You mentioned it and you spoke about it. Who is the team that takes this one for the first match point run? Is the window closed for CrownZero, or can they rip it right open back if the 1 round loss? I would say, who do you think, Len? Who will take the first match point round for round number 12? Will it be CrownZero, or is it Entropy? What is your guess?
Oh, I think in this case, Entropy, right? Whenever they get back to, making the points and making the rounds, they are the team to find a sequence. I would say they're better, or they have been better today, as opposed to CrownZero at like building up those rounds in a sequence, creating the role of a work. So Entropy, they have been doing that very, very well. And whenever Afla does what he does, like killing a lot, the team appreciating it's a triple kill. Suddenly, he brings all of those skulls to their side. Fleek responding though, Nikki too, so it's not over. CrownZero trying to show work and show up against Entropy now, based on the damage side of things, especially as Flick is gonna be the last one alive versus 3 players. Very, very tough moment for him. Low on HP, so Entropy, like I said, building 2 rounds in a row now. Mighty, it's their chance again.
It's Entropy's chance. I would say what a huge slip on there by Apple. He's figuring out getting into the spot is free, moving freely, gains himself to first, gets a lot of big bullets dropped on a second, aims away onto these back roamers. We had a lot of roaming game in happen for CrownZero. 2 guys coming down back into the basement from a staircase. Apple gets one immediately. Also, the Colossal switch to Talos is happening, and also Alpha gets that kill, triple kill for Alpha. Unfortunately, he then falls by the second guy coming down the back end stairs, and immediately the chance of hope, Bechi, the big man on the Monty, getting killed by Fleeks. Unlucky for Fleeks though, he is not calm enough. He had the fuse in hand. He was in a small squared space with the biggest shotgun momentum of a huge shotgun play there that he could potentially have won if Entropy isn't smart enough of playing him as a team out of that corner. But no, he needs to peek a long angle with his shotgun, making it impossible for himself to be alive and stay alive, and gives that round away. Entropy now with the opportunity of closing this match out on map 2, gaining them the 2nd point. They're not only now on match point, they are on series point. Close this out and go to finals.
And speaking of which, they definitely are looking like a team that deserves to be on the playoffs phase, because, hey, whenever you manage to, you know, be so solid attacking like you're doing in a majorly defensive kind of map, even though that's kind of balanced, right, as we know, stats-wise, but, like, you know, it's more of a defensive so far kind of map in this season in the championship. But whenever you, as an Entropy, you know, manage to find those rounds and be so aggressive, you suddenly begin to show that, yes, you kind of deserve, because CrownZero, they've had their chance. They didn't manage to extend the moment, right? I know they've built up a lot of rounds. They've had their chances. They just need to keep going and keep attacking, or you know, showing their strength on defending. As we see already, Batchy with the Monty. That's a pretty, I would say, close, body close here kind of fight or encounter. But yeah, interesting. Entropy, CrownZero, like you said, going into their peak at the 2nd map.
Going in here, and they're bringing a lot of force once again. That was close. That maybe Fleeks would have caught Bechi off guard, but Bechi saves this up for himself in the right moment. Steps into the first goo mine though, takes a lot of damage, needs to retreat back to his teammates that can cover him. Meanwhile, he's pulling out that goo charge. Apple also moves in. He's trying to figure out a way once again to slip in between and hit them from a right angle where they expect him from the least. Now, also, please, he isn't eager. He isn't afraid of going in for a fight. You only need to watch your angles that he is not getting yourselves on from an awkward position. He's being faced at. He's been also called out by the multi-bitch. He's always the guy figuring out ways and finding onto that Fleeks player. Moving through, he's bringing a lot of tension. He's forcing him to move. Spyro finds a kill on Alpha. Trixie finds a kill on Nicket, but Spyro is low on HP. 8 HP left. He still has 110 left in his 2nd robot down on site. 55 seconds left, and the conclusion here, we're moving in. We're standing close. Fleeks has attention. He has also help by Nerdy, holding him from behind. But the conclusion and also the map rotations on air. Loki finds a kill on Trixie as he's trying to move in. Bechi also gets some hits from above. And this looked close. They are locking down site. They're locking down momentum for themselves. As CrownZero will bring this for overtime if they get it overtime. We have one player playing it against Spyro. Spyro has a very impactful vertical position. He's drawing himself down on site now, and the push is concluded.
Look at that.
Nerdy is down as he's been pulled back by Fleeks. Fleeks backs onto side, leaves Nerdy alone. Now we have the kill, and then Fleeks gains his kill from the outside. Bitch is a little bit too fast, doesn't let his teammate roam in for him, but Freddy's on side. He's on the planting position. He's taking it away as he's getting pushed. There's no way for him to plant freely, and we're going to overtime. This means unlimited time for us to say goodbye to either of these teams. We can go bye-bye for CrownZero, or going, hey yeah, for Decider of Cafe. For these guys out there that doesn't know unlimited overtime, a team needs to win by 2 points. They need to win around back-to-back from both inside. They
Yes.
need to win it first in the defense, then the attack. If a team loses the defense and then wins the attack, it will just rewind and go back again. We have had this match once before at ESA. I will just promptly look up the scoreline of that match that we had previously. That was given the match of MG Esper against Yuk 141. That was a 12-10 on Chalet, for instance, for the hands of MG Aspire. We normally play overtime to 8. That match went to 12. That means they play 22 rounds instead of possible 15 that we're
10 seconds
normally
left
having in
before
overtime.
insertion.
Well, yes. So that's
5
what the
seconds
fans
left
want to
before
see here. As we see both teams also struggling or beginning
Attackers'
to
objective is to
struggle
locate a
also
bomb and
against
defuse it.
how tired they can be. You know, that lack of focus that can begin to be also an opponent to your side. So yeah, not only doing their homework like round after round, but also keeping focused and sharp. It's gonna be tough for both squads. And I would almost wanted to say that Entropy, they had a betchy, quite maybe overly confident on the strength of Monty. I don't know, but yeah, on the last round, Flick's attempts and actions were proven like right and stronger against Betchy's Monty, and it was the case of Flick, wrapping that one up and bringing CrownZero again to the equality. So it's been a very interesting game with a lot of elements and very variables here onto motion to define, like you said, which team's going to be the winner and is going to be going to the playoffs phase. Entropy now struggling also against themselves on that matter too when it comes to staying like together and fighting those kills pretty well. And CrownZero, I was gonna say, Mighty, that the players that were like one at a time stepping up. We've seen like Spyro and then Flick now being the star of the roster. Let's hope they find a way to collectively use that to their favor. Or Entropy, could do that too.
Like we have a 3-on-3 attack down in basement against these defenders. There's a 4-on-3. Meanwhile, Alpha is up and trying to clear out these two roamers from above. He's been double chased as Loki swings him. Meanwhile, Sparrow is taking the main interrogation and Alpha falls. Now, maybe Loki will be caught off guard as there's one guy coming from the stairs, from the door, and Hewitt finds the kill. Loki is out of the board. Spyro is back on side, so that means top floor is clear. He only needs to destroy the robot upstairs at first. And also the spin comes in by Trixie. Trixie finds the kill on Fleeks. That was the guy with the shotgun in hand. The only nerdy left. We have the advantage gained for Entropy. The side that they just previously lost, making them and forcing them to go through overtime. Will they close out? Freddy finds next to the nerdy. It's a double man count over for Entropy. Only Spyro and Naked left, and Naked is going down by Bitchy. Meanwhile, Trixie finds Spyro. So the first lead goes in the hands of Entropy, and that means match point OT. They only need to win this defense to close it out. And the big question here is, will CrownZero find a pick on a Monty? Will they bring the meta, or won't they rely on it?
Yes, let's see what they're gonna be bringing up to the table. Entropy now fighting nicely, and CrownZero not being able to keep those fights again. So yes, it's been a back and forth kind of game, right? Like you said, we just need to see someone doing the back-to-back logic of points, and it's been tough for both teams. Very interesting game already, kind of long, as we see Freddy bringing the dog back. So that kind of resistance that they've shown on the first map, maybe it's going to be back on track on the favor of Entropy, also with a bunch of nice choices to protect the spaces. Let's see how that's going to be played out. And CrownZero with this responsibility, they need to play for their lives here, or otherwise it's going to be a ticket back home.
It will be a ticket back home.
10 seconds
And for
to
that
go.
sake, I would say everything in the
5
matters
seconds
here
left.
is doing their best. Every single player is
Attackers are
completely
heading
going
out to defuse the
apeshit
bomb.
bananas here to do the
Yes.
best first team of making this round count. Both team now need it to be quick. They need it to go in their favor. One wants to close it out for good. One wants it to give him another opportunity. CrownZero have had the lead here. They had the figures of saying we could win this, we could chase it out, but they're not matching it so far. Now they need to figure out a way of winning this round number 14. They need to have it in.
Spyro with the buck, obviously trying to get information from that stairs. And CrownZero using the Monty could be tough for Entropy. Let's see how that's gonna roll. Let's see how Entropy are gonna be able to counter that Monty. But not only him, obviously the entire team of CrownZero playing so nicely today and finding this map as a nice map on their side to say, hey, we also have some work to show. They've done so far so well. Entropy are trying to prove themselves superior. We have Afla at the stairs with Frost. A bit of a damage to his side, and off he goes against Naked. Nice bullet by Naked again. Such a good play, but UOT was ready to respond. And Entropy showing more stable on the second half of the maps and rounds here. But they still got the players. It's gonna be tough against CrownZero, who are with 1 minute ahead. So that's gonna be hard to predict. Mighty.
It's hard to predict, but it's still good and open for the squad of Entropy. We have a shield on ball, Fleeks on the Monty. It's a big challenge to clear out once again. Meanwhile, Jewett and co had a promising round. They had a lot of tension. They brought a lot of damage to their teammate. Well, then they got one kill, and immediately we had to push on through. Fleeks down on HP. Maybe they get him dealt with. Maybe they clear out that Monty for good. Only so much left. It's 1 minute. They know for a fact that they will push on through. He's already close onto that side. They're now breaching the single wall out of the side. Trooper out, crossing it up and also closing down that breach for good, as he's still one more canister left. He can absolutely take away time of the clock as much as he wants, as much as he needs. As now the final conclusion is coming in, and Spyro is looking for the first interactions. He won't find any though so far. Already Freddy moving back. He's only looking at the Monty, flicking away a little bit on that window because, you know, there's one guy outside the window. Maybe he will jump in. Fleeks getting Freddy. Bitch, he finds Nerdy. Trixie finds Spyro, and it's only Loki and Fleeks left. Fleeks down by Bitchy as he found an angle. It's 5 seconds left, and this match will be over if he doesn't find the kills. Loki has to push. He finds the push, but he hasn't defused, and hence this round is over. And Entropy wins by a flawless tactical offside position. This match is over. It is concluded. Entropy goes finals.
Hard-fought victory by Entropy. 8-6 against CrownZero. What a way to build their way into the playoffs. Fantastic performance. Back and forth, a lot of stories and history here being built, obviously, into ESA Cup. What a nice final dot here by Entropy. Congrats to them. Yeah, claps, folks. As we hope you guys enjoyed the castings by me and Mighty Rune tonight. But yes, was a fantastic run. Mighty, what a nice way to put an end to this campaign on the side of, obviously, CrownZero. So, two different stories into the same series, right? A massive overrun in the first map, and now Entropy taking this one using the overtime.
I would say the first map, nothing much more to talk about. Entropy made it perfectly clear for everyone that this map is theirs. There's no ground for them to have any possible chance for their opponents to taking that map for good. Second map, they began very strong, slacked off a little bit, let CrownZero commit into the gunfights, into the scenarios, and also find adaptation ways on every single aspect being brought so far. And that immediately tensed in back onto the rounds. CrownZero took advantage immediately. Entropy does what they're best at, adapting, finding ways, adapting upon those, and making it very clear they're never backing away and backing down from a fight. And that fight they took all the way into overtime and pushed on all beyond and closing it off immediately in regular time. So I would say Entropy into the finals, CrownZero out of the competition. Unfortunately, always unfortunate if someone has to go. Let's take a look onto that bracket. That means Entropy up and qualified, and they only need to look into two more, as we have two more play days back in Swiss to figure out who it will be. Will it be Minions or Ascot, or will it be MVG against Aspire? As we are already figuring that out tomorrow, as we have a match tomorrow, that is Molotov Gang against MG Aspire. Same day, same time, but only tomorrow, with a bunch of new faces on the cast, as you love and see them every single back again. But that way, I would say we are having our end for tonight. It was a blast. Unfortunately, the series didn't go to all three maps. Unfortunately, as well, it
Yes.
didn't go further away in the overtime. But I would say, for my sake, it was a blast. Thank you, Lennox, for having me.
It was awesome, man. Thank you so much for the partnership, and thanks for all the production team behind ESA Cup as well. Two different teams, two different stories. So basically, just sum it up quickly: CrownZero doing a better job on the standing side of things, but then Entropy, doing a better job on this final sprint, going to the playoffs. So nice recovery by them. Thank you all. It was a pleasure to improv and cast here from a hotel room on the road, but that's what we love to do. See you guys back again soon.